Hi, my name is Colin Duzak, and today I will be giving you a sermon. For the past 2 years now, I've been studying and getting a degree in ministry. And I've been doing this because I have a passion in teaching the Word of God to people. I love trying to find people whose relationship is on a journey and just trying to help them find Christ and guide them towards the Spirit. So during the last 2 years of my life, I have been going and studying to try to get a degree in ministry so that I can preach the Word of God. Now, in those last 2 years of life has been crazy, and I've gone through some pretty massive changes. I've moved not once, not twice, but 3 times. I've had my second child. My wife and I, we've gone through some infertility issues. We've had not 1, not 2, but 3 miscarriages during that time, which has put a lot of, it's been hard with that. During that time as well, we've gone through a custody case for my oldest daughter, who, thank God, everything ended up working out, but that was around $100,000 in legal fees. And on top of that, my wife and I didn't get to live together for the first couple of years of our marriage because of that custody case. But one thing I will say is during that entire time, I found peace, and that came through God. My relationship with God has flourished. This time of my life has been the best time of my life, and not because of everything that I was going through, but because I found God. And my relationship with God is what guided me and what brought me peace. Now, that word peace is what I want to talk about today. If I asked everybody in here to close their eyes, and on a count of 3, I said the word peace, what would come to mind? Now, I'm sure that if I went across this entire room, there'd be a million different answers. Some of you guys would be out there, and you'd say money. And I get it, but you're greedy. Some of you guys out there would say a house. Some of you guys would probably say health. I'm sure all the ladies out here would say a husband. Make sure you find a godly man, somebody who submits herself to Christ. And then all you men out there, I'm sure you'd say wife or lady. Those things can provide happiness, but none of those things are going to bring you peace. And to find peace, we're going to jump to Phillipians 4:12 through 13 to understand what peace is. So in Philippians 4:12 through 13, it says, I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in every and any situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. So during this time, this is Paul writing this, by the way, a letter to the church in Philippi. During this time, which is around 60 to 62 AD, Paul is under arrest by the Roman government, and he is awaiting to see what is going to become of his life, what's going to happen with his life. And I mean, we just need to take a pause real quick and kind of examine that. So there is a man who's under house arrest by the Roman authorities, trying to figure out if he's going to live or if he's going to die because of his belief in God. And he's writing to us about the peace that he's found. He's telling us what peace is. I mean, a second ago we're talking about money, we're talking about wives, husbands, houses. I mean, if you were in that situation, do you think any of those things would bring you peace? And that's what Paul is trying to talk to us today about.
So peace. How do we find peace? I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. What Paul's trying to do here is he's trying to give us 2 different circumstances. He's talking about his life, things that he has been through. He's talking about times in his life where he's had it all, and he's talking about times in his life where he hasn't had it all. He's talking about times where he has been in need, and then times when he's had it all. And why is he doing that? He's doing that to show us that the circumstances of life, what we're going through, does not dictate our peace. Now, why does he want to do that? It's obviously because he's trying to tell us that something else out there is what dictates our peace. There's no physical item in this world. There's no person in this world. There's no location. There's no place. There's nothing in this world that's going to be out there that can bring us peace. The only thing that can truly bring us peace is our relationship with God. And when we look at Paul's life and the circumstances that he's going through at this time where he's writing this letter, that's how a man who's under house arrest and in custody by the Romans, trying to figure out what's going to happen to his life, can write a letter to us and explain to us what peace is. It's because he has found it. It's because his relationship with God is exactly where it needs to be. So, how do we find this kind of peace? I know it's like real easy to say in a sermon, but how do we find peace when our flesh is going through these circumstances in life where we typically wouldn't be able to find peace? Confusing, I know. Basically what I'm trying to say is, when I'm broke, how do I feed my family and find peace? Well, what we need to realize is that to define peace, it doesn't come from the mountaintop. So it'd be really easy to be at the mountaintop when everything in our life is good. Like we don't reach out to God in those moments. We don't sit there and say, hey God, I have it all. Thanks for being there for me. See, when we find God, it's typically when we're in the valley. It's typically when we're at a low place in life. It's typically when we're sitting there and we realize that we're not in control. It's when we realize that I don't have the strength to make it through this. It's when you realize that you need somebody else to pull you out of this. That's where we start to find God. When you find God in that moment, that's when you finally give your life to Him. That's when you submit yourself to Him. That's when you say, God, please help me through this. Pull me through this. You can have this. I will lay it all down at your feet. Just please take me through this and provide for me. And that's where the relationship with God starts to get built. And when you have a relationship with God, that's when you can talk to Him. And when you can talk to Him, that's when He listens. And when He listens, that's when He hears you. And when He hears you is when He provides. Because you have that relationship with Him. You have that with Him. And once you have that and He provides, you're no longer going to be in the valley. You're going to start coming up and you're going to be in a place. And where that place is no longer the circumstances of life. It's just peace. It's not a mountain. It's not a valley. It's peace. It's somewhere else. And that's because that's what God gives us. And it's the peace that we need to find there. In my own life, I'm a family man. I'm somebody who loves all the holidays. I like to be at all the family dinners. I'm somebody who would typically like to host all the family things. And my mom's a very similar person. Growing up, my mom and I would always talk about all these little plans, well, mainly her, but I did partake in the conversations. But we would talk about all these things, you know, the family dinners, where we're going to be, the vacations, the holidays, all these big family get-togethers, and that made me happy. And I left to go to the Air Force, and I was alone for a couple of years, and I came back, and when I came back, my whole family was here in Chicago, which is where I currently live, and I had it all. The whole family was back together. But you see, when you have it all, it's typically when you start to realize that you're due for a shakeup. Things are going to happen. My father worked for the city of Chicago, and he had a really good job. And he was put in an unfair situation where the outcome of his job was it was tested. He was given a situation to compromise his morality, and if he compromised his morality, he could keep his job, and if he didn't, he'd be let go and he'd be fired. Now, my father is a man of strength. I love my dad. He's somebody I admire. He's somebody who I hope I can be like someday. And he's certainly not a man who's going to compromise his morality for worldly things. So my father lost his job, and my mom, my dad, and my two sisters ended up packing up their bags, and they left, and they no longer live here. They moved to Tennessee. And that was hard for me. That wasn't easy, because like I said, I was the guy who wanted the family dinners once a week and the holidays and everything all together, and I kind of felt a little bit alone at that time. I started feeling like I was going to be in the valley. I was lonely, but it didn't take long to realize that somebody else was there, and that person was God. God was there, and like I said prior, when I started communicating with him, when I started talking to him, is when he heard me, and I realized I wasn't alone. He was there for me, and when I got down on my knees and I asked him, that's when he provided for me. And it wasn't with anything in this world that he could have gave me, it was just knowing that he was there. And in that time, that's it, when he provided. It's when I found my wife. It's when I had my first daughter and my second daughter. And everything that I had lost in the beginning, I had now found and I had recreated because God had given that to me. That's because I gave my life to God. So that is how we find peace. That's how I found peace, because I talked to God, I had a relationship with God, and he was there, and he provided, and what he provided for me was peace, regardless of the circumstances that I was walking through. So church, as we wrap up here today, I want you to understand that peace, it's never out of reach. Peace doesn't come from a material item in this world. Peace cannot be provided through that. Peace, it doesn't come from somebody, and it doesn't come from something. Peace can't be found in a location, and peace isn't dictated by our circumstances. What peace comes from is God. And we get that peace when we get on our knees and we submit ourselves to God, and when we hand it all over to him. And that's because the only thing in this world that can provide peace is God. That's what Paul's trying to tell us. And that's how Paul found the secret of peace. When we look at Paul's life and the circumstances that he's going through when he's writing this letter, that's how Paul is able to communicate to us what peace is. Paul's trying to tell us everything that we're going through, that it's not this, it's not the good times, it's not when we're in need, it's not when we have plenty, it's not when times are good, it's not when times are bad. That's not what peace is. That's not how we find peace. It only comes from our provider, who is God. And God is the only person who can provide that. So church, the next time that we come here, and I ask you guys to close your eyes, and I ask you what peace is, I don't want a whole bunch of answers. In fact, I just want one unanimous answer. And that one answer that I want is God, so that we can all understand and realize that God is what brings peace. Thank you.